Hello and welcome to your Wednesday math lesson. So today on your plans, you are supposed to create 5 math problems that are a addition for fractions that have different denominators. That's a lot to say. So what I did was I created 3 of those, and then at the end of this, I have some problems that we would have done in school if we would have been there, because I feel like we're doing a lot of review right now, and I want to make sure that you're getting some new stuff. So I feel like some of you also probably are like, Miss McCarthy, we've done the same thing over and over and over again, but I want to just throw in some different stuff. So when we get to those, if you want to pause the screen and write those problems down, try them on your own if you can, but if you are like super confused, just go ahead and restart the screen and follow along with me. But I do want you to write down the problem and try them, because this will count for your math lesson if you do all the problems I have, even though they don't fully match the plans. So that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Just hang there with me. Make sure you write down the problems on a piece of paper or your whiteboard so that you are actually trying to solve them, so that you can get in the habit of that. So our first problem is what you would have done on your own if you created your own math problem. So here's your first one. 1/4 plus 5/12. So go ahead and pause your screen and write that down and solve that. All right, so you should notice that the denominators are different. So that means you have to change one of them to create the same denominator so that you can add. Because remember, when we add fractions or subtract them, they have to be the same denominator. You can't just add these together right now. So the one that I'm going to change is I'm going to change the 4th into 12ths. So I'm going to multiply 1/4, just like we did yesterday with our equivalent fractions. And I'm going to multiply it by 3, because that's what's going to give me the 12. So 3 on top, 3 on bottom. So 1 times 3 is 3, and 4 times 3 is 12. So you should get 3/12 plus 5/12. So then all you have to do is the denominator stays the same. And then 3 plus 5 is 8. Now, you could leave it like this. 8/12 counts as a correct answer. 8/12 is correct. But you could also simplify it. So to simplify, remember that's dividing the top and the bottom by the same number. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom both by 4. Because I can do 2. Divide this by 2, I'd get 4. Divide this by 2, I'd get 6. But then you could go one step further. So my highest number I can get that I can divide both of them by is 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So if you didn't get that part yet, just go ahead and write it down so you get in that habit of simplifying. So 2/3 is also a correct answer for this one, because 2/3 is the same as 8/12. All right, so go ahead and write this one down as well. 3/8 plus 1/2. All right, so for this one, I'm going to change the 1/2. 1/2 I'm going to change to 8ths. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 4. So I would get 4/8 plus 3/8. The 8 stays the same. And now if you haven't gotten this far, if you messed up here, go ahead and pause now and fix it. You can pause the screen as many times as you want while you go. So pause the screen and solve this one. So now I add 3 and 4. So 3 plus 4 is 7. So I get 7/8. All right, one more like that. So this time we have 7/8 and 3/4. So right now you should be pausing your screen and writing this down. All right, so for this one, again, I'm going to change the 4ths into 8ths. So I'm going to multiply by 2. Top and the bottom by 2. So 3 times 2 is 6, and 4 times 2 is 8. So 6/8, and I'm going to add that to 7/8. And so then, again, if you didn't change these correctly, go ahead and pause and fix it so that you have this. All right, so then the 8's going to stay the same. My denominator stays the same. It's 8 now. And then 7 plus 6 is 13. Now, as you look here, you know you can't leave this one like this. You can't leave 13/8, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away 8/8. So go ahead and write that down if you haven't done that yet. I want you to pause the screen and solve here and see what would I have left over. What would I have left over? What's going to be left over here? And it's going to be the 5/8, right? Because 13 minus 8 is 5. So if I added these back together to solve, 8 plus 5 would be 13, and my denominator is 8. So far we're good. The 8/8 is equal to 1, right? And then what's left over is 5/8. So your answer is 1 and 5/8. All right, and so here are the problems that some of us might have gotten to in our classes. I know my class, we touched on it, and I know I've done a couple of these in our videos. So if you've been following along with our videos, you might know how to do this. But this is a problem that my class, we would have just started doing right when we left. It was like lesson, I think like 26, 27, right in that area where we just left school. So go ahead and see if you can solve this one on your own first. If you can't, at least write down the problem and then solve it with me. Okay, so for this one, what you want to do is you want to always add your whole numbers first. So the whole numbers, remember, are numbers that are greater than, are 1 or greater. So 2 and 5 are my whole numbers. So I'm going to add those two together first. So 5 plus 2 is 7. Now, like I said, these denominators are the same because I wanted to show you this type of problem. So the denominators are the same, so you should just be able to add now. So 1/4 plus 2/4. So if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and add 1/4 and 2/4 together. And so 1 plus 2 is 3. And I leave my denominator the same, which is 4. So my answer for this one is 7 3/4. Okay. Another one similar to that. I have 3 4/6 plus 2 5/6. So 3 4/6, I'm going to add with this one. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my whole numbers first, my 2 and my 3. So again, if you haven't written this down yet, go ahead and pause and write. So 3 plus 2 is 5. And then I have 4 plus 2, which is 6. Oh, sorry, 4 plus 5, sorry, my bad. 4 plus 5, which is 9. So right now I have 5 and 9. And then my denominator is 6. Sorry, that was my fault. So 4 plus 5 is 9. And then my 6 stays the same. 3 plus 2 is 5. Sorry, that was my fault. So I can't leave it like this because I have more on top than bottom. So it is a mixed number, but I have that improper fraction in my fraction part. So I need to change that. So I'm going to pull out the whole number from my fraction part. So I'm going to make a number bond, and I'm going to take away 6/6. And then what would be left over would be 3/6. Because if I take 6 away from 9, if I take 6 away from this 9, I'm going to get 3. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add these two together because this is now a whole number, right? It's 5. It's 1, right? Oh my goodness, I'm losing my brain. It's 1, right? 6/6 is equal to 1. So 5 plus 1 is 6. And then my fraction part is 3/6. It's what's left over here. So 6 3/6. Now, if you are a pro now at simplifying, you might recognize that I can divide the top and the bottom by the same number. I can divide them both by 3. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to get 6 1/2 as my answer. But I also would accept 6 3/6. But if you got 5 9/6, you need to make sure you break it apart. All right, and the last one's just a fun bonus for you to see if you can figure this little problem out. So I have 3 5/6 plus something is going to give me 4. So I want you to try it out. Try it on your own and see if you can figure this one out. What plus 3 5/6 is going to give you the whole number 4? All right, so if you thought 1 and you put a 1 here, because 3 plus 1 is 4, you would end up with 4 5/6. So that's too much. So it can't be 1. So I wish I could call on you to see if you have any ideas, because I feel like some of you might be like, oh, yes, I know. So by looking at this one, 3 is the whole number that's right before 4. So if I had a number line, which I'm going to draw right now, you don't have to do this part, you can just watch. I have my 3 and my 4, my whole numbers. Now what's in between there is the fraction part. So this would be 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 5/6, wait, 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and then this would be the 6/6. So right here you can see that you are 1/6 away from being at 4. So if I were to add that 3, or the 3 and 5/6 plus 1/6, like this, the 1/6 away, I would get 3 and 6/6. And you know you can't leave it like that, right? Because that's your whole number right there. So this 6/6 becomes 1, and then 3 plus 1 is 4. So your answer for this one would have been 1/6. So if you got this one right, virtual high five, because that is a tricky one. I wanted to throw in a little challenge problem there at the end. So remember, you can't leave like that, it becomes the 4. So my answer would be 1/6. All right, guys, I'm going to try to start doing that a little more, just so that we can touch some stuff that we would have done during school, if we would have been in school, because our plans say that we're supposed to be assigning things that are things we've already done in class, but I want to just throw in a couple problems like that at the end of the videos to try to challenge you a little bit. And speaking of that, I'm going to talk about this a lot more tomorrow in the morning message, but the 4th grade team has created a new calendar for May that if you are like, I really want to try some new stuff, I want to get into the next module of what we would have done at school, we have made a calendar for you that you can try some new stuff. So it's going to be all from module 6, so stuff we've never done together. So it's a little bit more challenging, but all we've done is we've created a calendar that has a video that goes with each lesson. So I'll talk more about it tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that morning message video tomorrow that explains the calendar you're going to see tomorrow night. All right, you guys, have a great day. If you have any questions about the math, remember you can message me. You can, we can set up a time to meet where I can explain this more one-on-one, where we can meet on a Google Meets, things like that. So if you want to do that, please let me know. I'd be happy to do that with you. Other than that, I will see you tomorrow.